Hi, my name is Jo Hadley, and this is my podcast, Being a Human Lighthouse. Those of you who have listened to me before may be aware that I've called from July 2024 to July 2025 my dark year of the soul, where I went to an event overseas and came back. And even at the event, when we talked about the unknown and venturing into the unknown, that true spiritual awareness and seeking connection with your soul and spirit involves living and being in the unknown. I've had lots of clues because one of my favorite films of the last decade has been Frozen 2, which deals with the unknown. And intuitively, I always knew that it gave me clues to what was coming in my life and how and what I had to overcome or face. The universe moved me to a new city. And I thought, oh, it's all over. Everything is settling in. I can start to grow some roots here, start to learn to live and blossom again in a new place. And while that's very true, I also got here and started setting up structures and events and doing steps that I thought were what I wanted and needed to do. Something in my mind said this was my next step, and that's how I had to get to my end goal, which is this place I call the end of the earth, Consciousness Collective or Phoenix Farm. I thought there was another step, and I've been walking towards that step and everything, creating everything to get to this next step. Then I'm realizing I got extremely tired 2 weeks ago, and I just took some time off to just stop and go back in and wonder why I was feeling so tired, that I felt like I was pushing boulders up hills, that things seemed so hard. And I had the epiphany that this next step that I thought I had to do, I thought was the next logical step, was purely a mental construct in my mind. It wasn't necessarily my heart. I've been doing something that I enjoy, but it wasn't what I want to do ultimately all day, every day. And so I found myself having given myself 2 weeks to just stop and just see what unfolds by stopping and not trying to push. The answer has been surprising. Surprising because I just assumed this next step, this type of business or idea that I had in my mind was where I wanted to go. But it's not, or it's not panning out that way. And what I find is perhaps I'm still in the unknown because I've arrived in a city. I didn't want to bring my furniture down because of the expense, and I wanted to make sure I grew roots here. And also, too, part of me just wanted to leave the past behind. So I've left everything in storage. So until I made a success of moving here and really establishing myself and knowing I want to stay, I thought I would just live in some furnished accommodation, which I thought would be quite simple, but it's actually proving to be a little bit difficult. There's not a lot available. There's not a lot of affordable stuff available. And I thought to myself, I really am being kept in the unknown. There are very few roots that I can plant that make me feel grounded, like I'm here to stay permanently. Not that I think that I'm necessarily going to leave this city or this state, but it's like there's these ideas are swirling around me of all these possibilities. Am I staying in the city? Am I going outside the city? Am I just taking my time for my soul to find the perfect location for me to live? And those I was open to. That kind of unknown I've been kind of open to, though I really would like something that I felt stable, like a stable home life rather than moving from different places, place to place once that time limit has come up. I would like to stay somewhere and feel like this is my home. Yet I haven't found anything suitable or anything that I really want to commit to. So where I'm living, again, it's the unknown. I'm just letting it unfold. And also with the work that I'm doing. It's interesting. I feel it's like everything has got very confused, and I recognize that state. That's the state when I'm jumping levels, I'm jumping consciousness levels. And I'm starting to know that what my mind thought was the next step, what I was going to be doing and working on for quite a few years, may not be. There may be something else, but it's still unknown. I've made the commitment to learn to live completely from my soul, completely connected to my higher self and spirit. And that is a process of recognizing, becoming aware of all the patterns, beliefs, faulty beliefs, all the unprocessed emotions and traumas that are sort of stuck to my energy system and blocking my access and reception to this inner wisdom from my higher self. I've been doing work for years to let go of these energies, and I've come a long way. But it's always a process. And even though I've come a long way, there's still some energies blocking my receptivity. Though it's meant to be a path, it's meant to be a pattern. It's not meant to be a sudden epiphany and boom, you're there at a location. It's a slow unraveling and a moving and a stepping ever closer or ever higher towards your higher self and living in a more higher awareness and consciousness. While I love assisting and helping people with the somatic counseling, I see it as energy work, releasing the energy that are stuck in other people, that I can be a catalyst for them. I'm starting to think that that's not where I'm going to be for a long period of time, or even where I'm ultimately going to be. I've been listening to different work and being exposed to new speakers, new ideas that just when I think I have it all sorted, that I know where I'm going, I know who I am, I know what I'm after in my life, boom, I've gone to this new level where I've got these new speakers, new ideas being presented. So it's making me have to dissolve what I thought and basically reconstitute it in a new form or a higher form. It's giving me glimpses of something different, something new, and actually a little bit closer to this ultimate heartfelt goal or end point that I've been seeking. The spiritual path can be super annoying because it is constantly in flux, it's constantly changing. Just when you think you've got it, vroom, it gets whipped away, and then something new presents, and you have to learn it at a different level, a higher perspective. But what I'm learning from what's happening to me at the moment is I'm seeing that I've had these control patterns, And I have a few fear patterns, and one that just loves to push boulders up hills and be resentful and resist everything. And it's almost like the universe is keeping me in this constant state of not knowing, constant state of being in this unknown space, because that is pushing me to stay committed to learning to trust that the universe and my higher self will allow things to present and assist me and guide me. And I don't have to really do much at all. That's a hard concept for some of these patterns I have, especially my little pattern that loves to resist everything, because it's terrified that the universe is going to make a mistake. It's terrified the universe won't help me. It's terrified it's going to have to do it all itself. But that's a pattern and an ego pattern. But you can't just tell an ego pattern, even when you see it, that it's stupid and it's wrong. It doesn't tend to make it go away. In fact, I just watch this pattern and I allow it to be there. Because it has to not be pushed. It has to be allowed to gently dissolve. It has to be loved and witnessed with compassion. So I see this part of myself resisting and frightened and trying to do it all and trying to take over. And I just notice it and realize that when that happens, I'm probably not feeling safe or not really trusting in my higher self, which means then I need to look in, go inwards deeper again and see if I can release some of those energies that are creating that and stay as compassionate as possible to that part of me that thinks it has to do it all itself, that the universe or my higher self is going to forget it. It'll help everybody else but me. It works for everybody else but me. Like most things in life, you can't just tell it to stop. It has to just gradually just going to just gradually change things so it slowly sees that things aren't so frightening, that it has that ability to cope with whatever comes. And as a result, that there should be less pushing, less resisting, less instances of boulders being pushed up hills. So I stay compassionate to this pattern that seems much clearer now, which again is a good sign. Anything that's brought into our awareness can heal. Because if we're not aware of it, we can't change it. So by seeing it and witnessing it clearly, I know that its days are numbered, but we've got to just let it dissolve in its own time and with compassion. Of course, I have moments of frustration, and I allow myself to have them. I still get impatient, but that passes. And it's interesting. I think this path inwards, the path to the higher self, there's definitely, even though it's different for everybody and it's unique, there are definite commonalities. It's like we're all in our own path, but we're all tunneling towards the same oneness, the same universal source. We often have similar faulty beliefs driving us or driving our ego patterns. And learning to have faith and trust in our higher selves and spirit is a huge game changer and shows that we've broken through to another level. And what I'm noticing as I feel like I'm moving levels is the level I've been in for the past few years of witnessing patterns, feeling the emotions, allowing them to dissolve. It's as if I've gotten to a point where, yes, I still need to do that. But now I've gotten rid of enough of those patterns that the inner light of my heart, the light of my soul, even the light from spirit, can actually come in and dissolve things without me having to sit through this feelings of intense emotion and sensation from just sitting with these faulty beliefs and how they manifest in the body and sitting with the energies as they are witnessed. Now I do that, but I also am noticing I'm calling on the light within to grow. And as a result of that growing, it also spontaneously dissolves some of these patterns. Seems to be a new level. And funny enough, some of the people I've been listening to talk about this. Sometimes I feel like I've shifted so many levels so quickly in the last few months. It can sometimes be hard to stay grounded and peaceful and calm when everything keeps changing all the time. It's a bit like being in an elevator and just about you got to go out. You go, oh, no, I'm going into another floor. Going to another floor. I'm going to another floor. Won't get out of this one. So yeah, there's these different levels and they're all opening. I'm having a quick look. I go, yeah, that's not a nice level. I'll go and have a look at that one and then whip back in again to go up to the next level. I don't get to stay on the levels. Like in the past, I've noticed that when I actually have memories of my past and I'm comparing it to now, I'm realizing that, yeah, I think the elevator doors opened and I went out and I spent probably years sometimes on different levels before I went back in again. Whereas now I might just stick my head out, have a look around and boom, then I'm back up to the next level. I don't have time to stay there too long and work on those obstacles that are at that particular level. That said, I've been doing so much inner work. This past year, even before I started doing a lot of inner work, but with this dark year of the soul, I'm being plonked in the middle of the emotional Pacific Ocean. I've gone inwards even more, committed further, and decided if this is the way it is, then I'm going in and I'm going to learn the tools. And I've read enough stories and heard enough people speaking about the spiritual journey to know where I'm at and what's happening. Yet still I find myself surprised. I've often stayed at levels and thought, yes, this is what it is. And of course, when you're at a certain level, you often just read and hear things that match the consciousness of that level. And so in the past few months, the speakers I've been listening to and reading it's almost surprising to me. I know that the Joanne Hadley of 5 years ago would have been probably terrified or freaked out if I'd told her that she'd be listening to some of this stuff now. So it's been a slow process, but almost an obvious direction that I'm surprised where I am, but not surprised at the same time. I notice when things have been irritating and challenging that I've been going quicker to my heart center to find the inner peace and to resolve things. I'm definitely not perfect at that, but getting better. I have a day job that sometimes, with its intensity, sometimes allows me to forget to tune into the heart if I get busy. But that in itself has been a reminder that I need to pause during the day and just reconnect. And again, every time I've done that, I've found things to work really well. I have allowed myself to pause during the day at this new job. And it's been very beneficial because it reminds me. It reminds me of what I need to do. And each time I've paused to reconnect to my heart, it has really assisted me in being more productive and feeling more inner peace. It's been really good. But today, that's where I wanted to leave it. Just talking about how I'm committed to this inner journey and connecting to my higher self, and that all the uncertainty in my life is still there, but it's making me, forcing me to choose to trust that the universe is unfolding at its own pace, and it doesn't care whether I'm resisting or not. In fact, the more I resist, the more suffering I have, and also the slower the pace of changes, and the more dis-ease, the lack of ease I have with the unfolding. So I keep reminding myself over and over again to just let it go, let it unfold, and trust that it's unfolding. And all I have to worry about is my reactions during the day. How am I responding to what's unfolding? Of course, there's many things that I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy about. There's a lot of things I'm not unhappy about, but things I am unhappy about. And yes, I catch myself being impatient. I catch myself being cranky, but I'm witnessing them and allowing them, and then it passes through. The point is not that on an inner journey we don't feel those things. We do. It's how we respond to them and how much we let them brew and build up and try and squash them. But I notice them. I even have a bit of fun poking fun at my impatient self and my little cranky self. Sometimes I get disappointed because I know I have this little inner crank. That inner crank just wants to be grumbly and mumbly and swear a little bit. But I allow that part of myself to be there. Do my very, very best not to allow other people to be affected by my grumpiness. And own my own grumpiness and know that it's just me feeling a bit disconnected, out of sorts, unhappy with something. Allow that energy to be witnessed and experienced and pass through. So that's my week. I hope you've all had good weeks where you're tuning into your higher self, your heart, and allowing your life to unfold so that you can access your higher wisdom and express the highest version of who you are. So until next week, have a great week.